I still check my rearview mirror at night. Even when I'm parked in my driveway with the doors locked, I check it obsessively, expecting to see that pale shape standing just beyond the reach of my porch light. It happened last September during a solo camping trip in the Shoshone National Forest in Wyoming. I'd been planning it for months. 3 days, 2 nights, just me and the wilderness. I'm not some inexperienced hiker. I've been doing this since college. I know how to hang a bear bag, purify water, navigate without cell service. I thought I knew what I was doing. The first day was perfect. I hiked about 8 miles into the backcountry, found a clearing near a stream, set up my tent. The weather was ideal, cool but not cold, clear skies. I made dinner on my camp stove, watched the sunset paint the mountains orange and purple. By 9 p.m., I was in my sleeping bag reading by headlamp. That's when I heard the whistle. It wasn't a bird. It was too deliberate, too rhythmic. 3 short notes, pause, 3 short notes, like someone signaling. I turned off my headlamp and listened. The whistle came again, maybe 50 yards away. Then it moved. Same pattern, same 3 notes, but now it was coming from a different direction. I told myself it was another camper. People whistle, no big deal. But something felt wrong about it. The notes were too perfect, too measured, and whoever was making them was moving through the forest in complete darkness without a flashlight. I stayed quiet in my tent. The whistling stopped after about 10 minutes. I didn't sleep well that night. The next morning, I almost convinced myself I'd imagined it or exaggerated it in my head. I made coffee, ate breakfast, decided to day hike to a nearby ridge. I left most of my gear at camp and headed out around 8 a.m. with just my pack, water, and some snacks. The hike took about 3 hours. The ridge had an incredible view, endless forest in every direction, mountains in the distance. I took photos, ate lunch, started back down around 1 p.m. When I got back to my campsite at 3:30, something was wrong. My tent was open. Not just unzipped, completely open, both zippers pulled to opposite corners. I always zip my tent closed, always. Bears, rain, bugs, you don't leave your tent open in the backcountry. I approached slowly, checking the ground for animal tracks. Nothing. No claw marks on the tent, no disturbed earth, no scat. I looked inside. Everything was still there. My sleeping bag, my book, my spare clothes. Nothing taken, nothing torn, just opened. I stood there trying to rationalize it. Maybe I'd forgotten. Maybe the wind had somehow caught the zipper. Neither explanation made sense, but I forced myself to accept one of them because the alternative was worse. I zipped the tent closed and started preparing dinner. The sun was getting low. I kept glancing at the tree line, that creeping feeling of being watched settling over me like a weight. I felt that before in the woods. It's usually just paranoia or the natural wariness of being alone in a big space. This felt different. This felt specific. Just before dark, I heard branches snapping in the forest. Not small branches, thick ones, the kind that make deep cracking sounds. Something big was moving out there, and it wasn't trying to be quiet. "Hello?" I called out. My voice sounded small. The cracking stopped. Total silence. Not even the normal forest sounds. No birds, no insects, nothing. Just dead air. Then I heard it. That whistle. 3 short notes, right at the edge of the clearing, maybe 30 feet away. "That's not funny," I said, trying to sound calm, authoritative. "I can hear you. Identify yourself." 3 notes again. Same spot, like whoever was out there hadn't moved at all. I grabbed my headlamp and pointed it toward the sound. The beam cut through the darkening forest, illuminating tree trunks and underbrush. Nothing else. No person, no animal, nothing. But I could feel eyes on me, not the vague sensation of being watched, actual, concentrated attention locked onto me from the darkness. I backed toward my tent, keeping the headlamp pointed at the tree line. My hand found the bear spray on my belt. I'm not ashamed to admit I was terrified. "I'm armed," I lied. "You need to leave, now." The whistle came again, but this time from behind me. I spun around. My headlamp swept across the clearing, across my tent, across the stream. Nothing. Impossible. Nobody could have moved that fast without making sound, especially not through that terrain. I made a decision. I couldn't stay there. I know what they teach you. Don't hike at night. Stay put. Be smart. But every instinct in my body was screaming at me to leave. I started shoving gear into my pack. Sleeping bag, stove, water filter. I didn't care about organization. I just needed to move. My hands were shaking so badly I could barely work the buckles. That's when I saw it. Just beyond my tent, at the absolute edge of my headlamp's reach, there was a shape. Tall, pale, standing completely still between two trees. I froze. The shape didn't move. It was vaguely human in form, but wrong somehow. The proportions off, the stance too rigid. I couldn't make out details at that distance, just a white-gray silhouette that seemed to absorb the light rather than reflect it. I slowly moved my head, sweeping the beam away and then back. It was still there, still motionless. "What do you want?" My voice cracked. It whistled, those same 3 notes, but this time I could see it wasn't moving its head or body at all. The sound just came from it, flat and mechanical. Then it took a step forward, not a normal step, more like a glide, its body shifting forward without the usual motion of walking. Still at the edge of the light, but closer now. I ran. I grabbed my pack, left the tent, left half my gear, and just ran. I didn't follow the trail. I couldn't see it in the dark anyway. I just crashed through the forest, branches whipping my face, roots trying to trip me, my headlamp bouncing wildly. I could hear it behind me. Not footsteps exactly, but movement, breaking branches, disturbed leaves, something large pushing through the undergrowth at the same pace I was running. My lungs burned, my legs screamed. I kept going. I don't know how long I ran. Could have been 20 minutes, could have been an hour. Time felt broken. Eventually, I stumbled onto what looked like a trail, or at least clearer ground. I followed it, running until my body simply couldn't anymore. I collapsed against a tree, gasping, trying not to vomit. I turned off my headlamp and sat in complete darkness, listening. Silence. Just my ragged breathing and my pulse hammering in my ears. I waited there for what felt like forever, maybe 30 minutes. Then I heard it again, that whistle, distant now, but definitely there. 3 notes echoing through the forest. I turned my headlamp back on and kept moving, more carefully now, but still quick. By pure luck, I found a real trail marker around midnight. 3 more hours of hiking in the dark, and I made it back to the trailhead where my car was parked. I sat in my car with the doors locked until sunrise, dozing but never really sleeping. As soon as there was enough light, I drove straight to the ranger station. The ranger I talked to was an older woman named Melissa. She listened to my story without interrupting, her expression neutral. "Where exactly were you camped?" she asked. I showed her on the map. Her jaw tightened slightly. "We had reports from that area last year," she said carefully. "Hikers experiencing unusual activity. We did several patrols, never found anyone." "Reports of what?" She hesitated. "Sounds at night, missing equipment. A couple people said they saw someone following them." "Did you close the area?" "Couldn't. No concrete evidence of a threat. Could have been kids messing around, could have been coincidence. But," she looked at me directly, "you're not the first person to come out of there early looking like you've seen a ghost." I asked if anyone had been seriously hurt. She said no, but one hiker had been found by a search party after going missing for 2 days. The hiker claimed he'd been hiding, but wouldn't explain from what. He never went into the backcountry again. I filed a report. Melissa said they'd increase patrols in the area. I left. That was 4 months ago. I haven't been camping since. I probably never will again. But here's the thing that keeps me up at night. About a week after I got home, I was going through my camera roll, looking at the photos from the trip. Most of them were from the ridge, landscapes, the valley, that kind of thing. There was one photo I didn't remember taking. The timestamp put it at 3:15 p.m. on the second day, right around when I would have been returning to camp. It was a selfie, or at least that's what the angle suggested. Except it wasn't me in the frame. It was that pale shape, close up, filling most of the screen. The image was blurry, like the camera couldn't quite focus on it, but I could make out what might have been a face. Dark hollows where eyes should be. A mouth stretched too wide. My camera doesn't have a timer. I never set it to take automatic photos. Someone or something had to have picked it up and taken that picture. I deleted the photo immediately, but sometimes, late at night, I wonder what else I might find if I looked through the rest of my photos more carefully. So I don't look. I just keep checking my mirrors and sleeping with my bedroom door locked. Whatever is in those woods, it wanted me to know it was there. It wanted me to know it got close enough to touch my things, to use my camera to watch me while I was gone. And sometimes, when it's very quiet, I swear I can still hear it. 3 short notes, faint and far away, like it's still calling to me.